Yes, we got him.
There are richer sons in Calradia, and better-born sons. They inherit halls, allies, old grudges, and men already prepared to speak their names with respect. Thorstein inherited a colder thing. Let it feel heavy. A worn fighting kit. A purse with 1,000 dinars. And a father's memory already fading into the kind of silence that swallows poor men quickly. In the north, that is no excuse. A man may be unknown. He may be hungry. He may be young enough that older warriors laugh when he reaches for a sword. But if he has hands strong enough to close around steel, the world assumes he has been given all he needs. So he came south with no banner over him and no great name behind him. Only winter in his bones. Only road dust on his boots. Only the hard belief that if a father leaves a son a blade, then the rest of that son's life is the test of whether he deserved to receive it. Thorstein's first choice was not a glorious one. Before there could be battles, before songs, before any man in Calradia had reason to remember his name, there was a merchant's counter in Thornderlag. There he sold the old axe he had once used to split wood for the winter. A poor man's tool, a son's last practical thing. And with the silver he gained, he bought a fresh pack of arrows and a pike. A weapon with reach, a weapon with promise, a weapon that looked to a young man like the beginning of something greater. But Thorstein did not yet know the weight of such things. Not truly. He did not know that the pike was too heavy for him to use properly from horseback. Not then. That mistake would stay with him, not as a wound, but as a lesson. And some lessons return sharper than steel. So he left the city behind and rode toward a nearby village, searching for work, for coin, for any small road that might lead him closer to a name. There, among tired farmers and salt-worn faces, he heard a rumor. Bandits had been seen near the shore, moving around Skartheness village. To wiser men, it may have sounded like danger. To Thorstein, it sounded like a beginning. So our young hero turned toward the coast, toward blood, toward whatever fame and gold could be taken from men who preyed on the weak. And with his father's memory behind him and his own hunger ahead, Thorstein rushed toward his first true battle.
There are 11 of them, but I don't see any real ranged weapons. No bows, no crossbows, only stones. So I think this should be an easy fight. I'll keep my distance, use the bow, and take them down before they can even reach me. I've got the first one, with a perfect headshot. Then I decided to jump back on the horseback. I start killing them one by one, slowly and methodically. But, to my great disappointment in myself, I've got a few hits from the stones, fallen from my horseback, and I got captive with these filthy looters. above me, standing and laughing. I've been held captive for a few days until I finally found a way to escape my prisoners. I went to a nearby village to heal my wounds. The locals helped me a lot. They offered me a place to stay, some food. As well as that, they gave me a work and paid me in full for the job that I've done for them. A day after, I decided to take a walk in the village to learn more about the locals, as well as about the looters that injured me so badly. I've talked with the local, and he said that another guy from the village named Juvie might know something. He escorted me to the Juvie, and the Juvie said that he knows that there is a local gang operating in this region. He said that they were seen near the shore again a few days ago, and that after I heal my wounds, I should not go and pursue them because I'm too weak for this. But a little did I listen, and of course I went on the hunt. After our last encounter, they were left with just 4. I thought this is going to be an easy battle. But, as we all know, in this cruel world, if you don't have any armor on your head, each stone can be fatal for you. If not little, you still can have a concussion, and of course, as a very young man, after one hit, I was down again, and I've got captive by the same bandits for the second time. For a few days they used me as their local fun guy and the jester, because there are not so many idiots that manage to escape to get captive again in such short time. They offered me a bargain, 179 dinars from my stash in the village, and I can walk free. I refused. I didn't want them to have any more money from me, as they already had much more. They've stolen my dignity and my ability to even think that I can win any kind of battle. With the last spark that I had in my heart, I went into the village. I said that I got captive again and that I'm heavily injured. The locals again were good enough as people, and they offered me work again. I worked, I stayed, I healed my wounds, and honestly, I was really lost and didn't know what to do. The merchant from a city came into the village and said that he heard a rumor about a guy that managed to escape bandit twice. He said that old friend of his is right now in tavern in the city and wants to meet me. I didn't know what to think about it, but I was so lost that I decided to just go with the flow, and of course I came with the merchant to the tavern in the city and talked with this man.
In a tavern thick with old smoke and older disappointments, Thorstein found a man named Dalibol Breakskull, a fighter by his own account, a victim also by his own account. For Dalibol's story was not one of failure, no, not as he told it. It was a story of jealousy, of envy, of lesser men unable to bear the sight of talent standing too close to them. He said that even as a boy, people called him stronger than grown warriors. Perhaps it was true. Perhaps he had only repeated the words so often that truth no longer mattered. But there was strength in him, that much could be seen. The kind of strength that makes a man useful and the kind of pride that makes him dangerous. He had served in the Faegir Guard once, but discipline did not suit him. Pretty uniforms, long marches, clean scabbards, and silent obedience. These were not things Dalibor respected. When told to hold his tongue or leave, he left. Then came the Skolder Broder, the Shield Brothers. A fine name, he said, though not without contempt. To Dalibor, shields were for men who feared the press of battle. He spoke of wading into enemies alone, cutting left and right, as if war itself had been waiting for him to arrive. And when his brothers asked why he had not kept ranks, he heard no wisdom in it, only cowardice. So now he stood between jobs, in debt, proud, unsettled, and willing for 784 dinars to follow a young man who had little more than a father's memory and a road ahead of him. It was not friendship that joined them, not yet. It was need. Thorstein needed fighters, Dalibor needed silver, and Calradia, as always, had no shortage of men waiting to be killed. So Dalibor Breakskull took up his gear and stepped outside to join Thorstein's company. One more blade on the road, one more story beside the fire, one more dangerous man walking towards whatever fate would make of him. After the first blood had dried, Thorstein and Dalibor turned to quieter work. Smithing. Not for honor, not for glory, but for profit. Because a young clan cannot live on courage alone. They worked the iron, sold what they could, hoped that steel would turn into silver. But hope, like poor iron, does not always hold its shape. The profit was small, too small, and the road once again demanded movement. So with only a few dinars to their names, Thorstein and Dalibor left Thonderlag behind. First to Harald, then farther still, to Makep. There, among strangers and nobles who had never heard the name Ironwinter, Thorstein chose a different kind of battlefield, the tournament ground. Again and again he stepped into the arena, not because the prize was always worth the bruises, not because every victory brought wealth, but because every fight placed his name before watching eyes. A man with no renown must be seen. He must bleed where others can watch. He must win where others can remember. And slowly, fight by fight, the name of Clan Ironwinter began to move from silence into rumor. But it was in Akalat that Thorstein learned something greater. The city was hungry, short on food, short on goods, short on the lifeblood that keeps walls from becoming graves. And on the road to Odok, there was a bandit hideout. Because of it, caravans failed to arrive. Merchants hesitated. Prices rose. Men cursed the roads, cursed the bandits, cursed their luck, and waited for someone else to fix the problem. Thorstein did not wait. Where others saw danger, he saw a road left empty. Where others saw risk, he saw profit. So he took the same roads that frightened richer men and carried goods into Akalat himself. Sometimes the silver came back doubled, sometimes tripled, and sometimes 10 times over. It was not the kind of glory sung by warriors. No shield wall, no castle stormed, No king's banner raised above the smoke. But it was power all the same. The power to feed men, to buy horses, to pay debts, to turn a poor clan into something harder to ignore. Thorstein had gone south seeking fame and gold. In the arena he found the first. On the road to Akalat he found the second. And for the first time, the young son of the north began to understand Calradia's oldest truth. Steel can win a battle, but silver decides how long a man can keep fighting.